I keep wanting to say like change rules or regulation or policy or something like that. Like I feel like this person made headlines on like how it's like they changed the way things are done. So to me that would be like rules, policy, regulation, or something like that. Like because of their own personal experience fought for that kind of a change. But feels extremely well educated too because of what she had to fight for. It's like if she fought, it's like she knew that if she wanted to fight for it, she had to educate herself first. So that's why she has such extensive education. She feels very sovereign in her beliefs or like her way of believing or thinking about herself or about like what you're capable of or something. It feels like she set something free or someone free, or maybe the rules that she changed or something. Like it's a feeling of like setting something or someone free or setting people free. There's something about, because I'm seeing a gate open and like you're free, like you're free. So I have no idea what that represents. She feels very humble. She feels like she started out small. Like if she comes forward, she's kind of like showing me her childhood. And when I say started out small, it's this feeling of like we didn't have much, or and within her, she feels very small and confined, like just within her being in her childhood. But like capable. God, Penny, stop. It's funny though, because I feel like what she's showing me is like being in a situation that you feel small, but knowing there's more out there, or knowing the bigness while you're in the small. I don't know what that means. Because it's like she's putting me in first person consciousness as if like I'm in this situation where I feel like I'm in a bubble, I'm trapped and I'm confined, but I can see outside the bubble. I can see what's possible or like what's bigger. She's saying like, I do feel like in the very beginning, remember when I was saying like she spoke publicly or like she shared with a lot of people? That's why I was saying like she has this soft energy, but she's loud, meaning like her being is loud, like she made an impact. Describe her personality. I feel like she's a person who's in a situation, can be in a situation, but can see bigger or take you beyond what you see. It's like she can ask you like, okay, tell me what you see. And then she can take you beyond that. I don't know what that means unless it's just the education piece. If she taught people how to do that or how to become sovereign in their being. I think she also taught people like how to become self-reliant or independent or step into their strong will. She must have been through some hardship. Like I keep seeing this and feeling this energy of like I have to fight for where I am. So why she's literally putting me in this bubble, and it's like so hard to explain. She's putting me in this. Oh, how cool! She's putting me in this bubble as if I'm like this little girl, and all I can see is this bubble that's like right close to me. And then she's standing on the outside of it. And the little girl that's in the bubble, she's talking to, and then she can hear her. And she's saying, okay, but look beyond what's in your bubble. And then it's literally just like the cosmos. It's, just the universe. There's no definition. It's just complete spaciousness. So she's telling this little girl in this bubble, like how she can see outside, like her immediate bubble. And it's interesting because what's in her immediate bubble is still like black and white or like a sepia color. And then what's outside of her bubble has color. So it's interesting how she's sharp. Like she's very assertive, like direct, because she said, and she's very matter of fact. She's like, if you think that your growth like comes from what you see, you're dead. And she just kind of shrugs her shoulders, like, if you think your growth, and so she's showing me this bubble image again, like this little girl in her bubble, in her world as she knows it. And she's basically saying, like, if you think that your growth comes just from that little world that you know, you're already dead. Basically saying, like, if you can't hold space to grow from what you don't know or what you don't see, then you're dead and dying. Because of course that's growth comes from what you can't see and what you don't know. She just kind of shrugs her shoulders and she's just like, if you think that your growth comes from what you can see and understand and what's in front of you, you're dead. You're already dead. Like you stopped growing. You've stopped chewing, like living on what's actual, like source. Like basically self-reliant. If you think that your life, like what, if you think that what sustains your life is self-reliant, like you're dead. But basically meaning like you have to understand there's an exchange happening. Like it's not just you. Like she's trying to express, like you have to understand that like you are what you can't see and you are what you don't know. And if you can hold space for that, you can navigate, you can lean into it. So I think that's why she's showing these different bubbles, like the space that you can see and witness versus not.
Yeah, she was considered part of this like new thought movement. So like she published her first book in 1925 called The Game of Life and How to Play It, and it's basically like the law of attraction, but she speaks it like I've never heard before. It's really interesting. And I want to dive in talking to her about that because people.
I feel
Yeah.
that title sounds so familiar. Like I feel like somebody just sent me like a video or a book or something that was like literally that what you exactly just said, like the game of life and how to play it. And I was just not in the space to receive, I guess.
Yeah, it's okay. It's right now. You are
So
you are in the space to receive it right now because a lot of the stuff like is what we need right now. Yeah, and just
she's very take it or leave it kind of personality, like very matter of fact. Like it's she's unconcerned with how anybody receives her.
One of the quotes I was listening to is that I brought up to you is like, if one asks for success and prepares for failure, he will get the situation he prepared for. So it's one of her quotes from her book. So it really landed with me. What can she speak about that and like creation, and does she have any wise words she can wrap in, like tell the world about her perspective on law of creation and all that stuff that we possibly need to hear in a different way? Because I feel like all that stuff needs to be kind of like people have different perspectives on how to create or manifest, whatever you want to call it, prepare for.
Oh, she's pointing to you. She wants to talk about manifestation. Versus like the quote kind of leads into that. She's so bold when she speaks. There's no there's no likes, there's no pauses. She's very direct and she's very clear speaking. She says, "You manifest what you are." Like in big caps, you manifest what you are. She said, you know what she said? She goes, "That's my next book." She's funny. That's my next book. You manifest what you are.
Is she still writing in the heavens? Is she still creating? How is she creating these days?
Showing my symbol, yes. Just through vibration. She's showing like, imagine like all these tentacles just feeding into source, which is us. Right? So she's in the esoteric realm. We're here in the, in our carnal cells. And she's showing like all of these tentacles feeding just to different peoples that are in that vibrational space to manifest what she's sort of like pulsing. And so So you could say, yes, that she's writing another book, but it's living or happening, breathing through somebody else.
Well, yeah, I know. She was really speaking about like how if you wish someone else wealth or abundance or happiness, that you therefore will receive it. And what I got from that is that the reason why that happens and occurs is because we're all one. Essentially, we're all the same. We're all one. There's no separation. So that's why that occurs. And like, can she speak on that and like what her deeper meaning towards that? Is it exactly that? Is that we're all really connected and there's no separation? Or what does she feel she was trying to say from that? Like, I bless you, so therefore my things are blessed. Like, what truly is she saying?
Okay, yeah. This is so cool. She says, when you stop living in the illusion of separation, you stop time. And it almost brings me to tears what she's showing me, because it's like, it's so freaking cool. It's wild. She's showing like, imagine yourself being able to witness like the life of everybody happening all at once at the same time, and like witnessing them all at the same time, like being aware of this farmer over here teaching his son how to pull crops for the first time, and this mama over here having her baby, and this woman over here writing a book, and this teacher over here. It's like literally witnessing all lives happening at the same time. And she said, when you stop living in the illusion of separation, you stop time. And when she said that, like all of these beings turned and looked at her, but she put me in first person awareness, like as if they were all looking at me, because they're responding to me, because I am them. So we're all leading each other.
Yeah, that's the feeling that I got from that line. Most people be like, oh, if I'm nice to someone else, I'm going to get their blessings. But no, look at it deeper. Like, we're all a thread of another, and we're all connected. We're all the same, walking as one, essentially, but living this point of view. It's like the spider with 8 or 9 eyeballs or tentacles, but we're all, it's just, I don't know. I just feel like there's such a deeper meaning towards it. I knew it.
Right. And it's like, my gosh, she's so powerful when she speaks. And she says, she goes, truly, just, what is this saying for this? What is this? I know this energy, but I can't put the words on it. It's, not tickle my fancy, but it's like entertain me, but it's not those words. What is the saying? There's a saying for this energy, like humor me. That's what it is. It's like she's saying, like, humor me and go with me for a moment.
Yeah.
What if, just for a moment, you treated yourself as if you were God? Just think about that for a moment, because essentially that's what she was showing. Like all these people, when you stop living in the illusion of time, in the illusion of separation, time stops. When she said that, that's when like all the humans stopped and looked at her, me, as if I'm God, as if I'm the one giving them the breath of life to go function and do, right? So she's showing direct response.
So it's a reaction to you, essentially?
Right. And so she's feeding off of what you said about there is no separation. Like what I experience, they experience, and it's all shared at some point. And that's where she's showing like everybody stop.
I don't mean to cut you off, but does everyone experience a different reality based upon their own construct?
She's like, yes. They perceive themselves, or they try. It's like they try to create separation. Like it's the same thing, trying to create separation based on being versus doing. She says like the doing creates all the separation and creates time. doing creates time. If doing stops, time stops. And then if time stops, oneness happens. She looked at me, she goes, Kim, you can talk on this. This is how you channel. She's big on connectivity and how things connect, and just like oneness.
Yeah.
She's almost like she's big on proving that everything's connected. But she's very, that image was just shocking and familiar. It's as if it was like a part of a scene of a movie or something that I was watching, and like an epiphany happened, and then all of the production of life stopped and looked to me basically for direction. Do you know what I mean? Me as if I was God. That's why she's saying, like, just entertain me for a moment, like humor me and pretend, think of yourself as God. And if what you're thinking and feeling emanated to every human and every being, and you couldn't stop it, you had no way to stop the way your emotions bleed out to others, how would you be different, or would you be differently? Right? So I think we would hold ourselves more accountable for what we allow in our space, what we allow ourselves to think and feel, if we realized truly that it does affect everyone, because we're all one, we're all the same.
Yeah.
And that's like what she's trying to show and trying to say. So, because then it's like, if you truly know that you are the thing giving life to your entire universe, and your entire universe is looking to you for direction, what would you do differently? She just kind of like puts you in that space of contemplation. But it's just so fascinating how she's like, when you stop believing in separation, time stops. Like time. You begin to live timelessly once more, she says. It was that way in the beginning, she says. Like, as manifestations unfold and become more and more intricate, it's intricate within itself, and it didn't move away from oneness.
All right. Now, something that like I think everyone should really practice, and I love where she's going, but we'll get like really fully into her. But I really want to talk about what's important to a lot of people. Is she also has a chapter that's called "The Power of the Word." Like everything we speak into, everything that we are. She, and obviously we know this. Like our words hold a lot of significance, a lot of like power in creating creation and what appears in our lives and all that stuff. So what can she say on what the word holds and where she's at now?
She's saying that your word is like looking into a mirror. Your word, like where she is now with the idea or the understanding of this, is at the core, you are your word, and your word is you. So that's why she's showing like a mirror. It's like looking in the mirror. When you look at what you've said or what you've spoken, that's what you are. Like it's a very proportionate reflection she shows. Your word is always going to speak your truth, and vice versa. Your truth is always going to speak your word. And that's the manifestation. She's saying, like, that's where she must have taught on manifestation, because she's saying, like, that's where the teaching of manifestations came from, is if you understand the embodiment of your word first and work, like truly tangibly work with that energy and play with it in your own space, in your own environment, then you become more accountable and aware of how your word turns into things and manifests around you. And then she's saying the word shapeshift. So like, then of course you begin to shapeshift every corner of your life. And then you can manifest over others. You can't, it's a very fine line. She's like, we'll get into that another time. Like if you can manifest for other people, or, you know, there's this thing of free will, but there's inspiration.
Right.
So,
and
but she's saying
that's how miracles occurred in some way. There has to be some sort of acceptance of receivance in order for that maybe to happen, is what I'm guessing. And that's how Jesus probably did his miracles. She's really big on Jesus, so she could probably really dive into that stuff, how miracles are performed.
You know what she said when you were talking about she's big on Jesus? She goes, she's shaking her finger like this, and she goes, Jesus understood the infinite, and that's why he could perform miracles.
He understood the infinite. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
She says, and that's why he could perform miracles. Here, we are fixed on what is finite. We play with what's finite. It's dead energy. She's saying, so Jesus held himself higher, knowing he was an exception to the rule of what's finite, but we have somewhere along the way forgotten that we are also that exception. So for example, she says, how could you possibly expect an opportunity if you only believed in the finite, in what you see? Because let's say you're searching for jobs, right? Like there's job postings and there's only these 3 job postings. That's it. That's all the opportunity there is. I'm doomed because none of these fit for me. So if you don't hold yourself in the place as like you're an exception for the rule, there's an opportunity that can be made just for you, then you are playing with dead energy. You're dead in essence. So she's saying like you have to always be playing with in the space, the realm of infinite, the infinite realm. She goes, first of all, bring yourself here and breathe it. How good does it feel to be infinite, to know that you're in the space of everything is infinite for you?
Basically, anything is possible, right? In other words, like there's no boundaries.
Yep.
Possible and available.
Possible and available. Like there's nothing out of reach, nothing far away. It's breathable. It's so close to you that you can breathe it in, and then it becomes your WORD, your word, your being, your essence. So she's showing, and Jesus knew that. So, but we have forgotten that. So we play with the finite, trying to expect life out of a dead horse, right? And kind of trying to expect more from something that is complete or whatever. But when we go beyond, a little step beyond, and go into the infinite realm and play there, she said, then we bring about the possibilities. That's where true manifestation occurs, is when you kind of lean outside of, and sometimes we get there in desperation. We poke that hole, we penetrate that realm out of desperation, out of urgency, out of whatever, but we forget that that's our belonging. That's our being. That's where we truly exchange life, breath, like the breath of life. But because we are experiencing so much like finite reality, sometimes our minds and our being close down to what's possible and being able to expand beyond what we can see. She's pointing like literally like, blessed are those who, I can't remember what it says. Blessed are those who know more than they see. So that's what she's saying, like, it's literally what I'm talking about. Like those who know that there's more beyond what they can see, because what you can see is the finite.
There was another quote that I wrote down that was like, man must prepare for the thing he's asking for, whether it is in the slightest sight of it. So basically, even if you can't see it, you need to know that it's there, basically.
Right. And she's showing exactly. Yeah. And she's saying that your ability to feel is in the infinite. That's the infinite realm. So think about this for a moment. Like, I can feel you because we're not separated by time and space, because time and space essentially isn't real, because we both know each other on that realm, in the realm of the infinite. So I forget where she was going with that. Experiencing in the infinite, seeing is like what we see here, perceiving here is more the finite. So that's why passion is so important, she says, because passion is the infinite realm. Passion, that she's like, that's why passion is successful, because passion is the infinite realm. She's very big on.
So what is? Hold on. What is the cause of someone losing their passion or direction, or not the cause, but like, why do so many people get into this rut of like they lose their passion? Like, you hear that a lot. Like, I lost my passion, my fire, my spark, and things. And why do you think that happens? Accordingly to her,
she's saying belief in the finite realm, like belief in the material realm, like the 3D. Like, if you believe in this realm, you're not holding yourself as an exception to the rule, meaning knowing your infinite nature.
right?
You're an exception. When she says you're an exception to the rule, she's talking about like how you play in the material world. Like, you're an exception, meaning you might be in this world, but you're not of this world. We know this, she says. You're in this world, but you're not of this world, which means you can be, experience, attract, and receive from beyond this world.
Right.
But if you believe in this world, that this is it, that's when your fire is put out. And that's when your passion.
Okay. On that note, something just came to mind, like when you were saying that, like during these like psychic clairvoyances back in the day, people would be able to manifest things out of thin air. Is that how it would be pulled into this realm? Like, as far as, is there a connection to that? Have you ever heard that, first of all, like during these clairvoyances, that things would manifest, like jewelry or certain things, pieces of people's.
I've seen like some videos of like women in India and stuff that can manifest like jewels in their mouth and like weird jewels.
Okay, something similar to that. Now, is that connected to, as far as like that manifestation, as far as I forget what we were talking about, but it came into my mind. Is that something that also is connected to that whole creating?
Right. She's saying yes, like knowing that you can basically cause miracles, something that seemingly is impossible, because you are playing with the infinite instead of the finite. And because you can do that means you can connect to any vibration, any resonance, any frequency, and also manipulate the space that you're in to hold, like to carry it, to hold space for it. So if I'm going to try to manifest an emerald, right, I have to first know the frequency of an emerald so deeply that I can purify it here, and also manipulate the frequency of the here and now to opposite the emerald so that it can show up.
Yeah.
Right. So what she's showing is like, she's showing like, because if you don't have light, it goes back to the concept of light and dark. She's saying if you don't have light and dark, you wouldn't see. So that's why if I'm going to manifest an emerald, I have to be able to align with that energy so much so that I can hold space, like I can hold that frequency. But I also have to be able to hold the opposite energy enough so that it can materialize, like have construct, right? So it's like how Erik would put an invisible cloak on things. He has to know the energy of something first in order to opposite that, put energy in that space to opposite it to make it invisible, right? So it just depends on the dynamics of what you're playing with. So, but she says but if the best you can do is extend yourself to the infinite, you're already ahead of most, she says. Like, you may not even know what to or how to. You don't have to, she says. If you can just allow yourself to know that that's your home, like that's.
And that's as simple as what? As simple as acknowledging it, knowing it, feeling it, embracing it, and just being so committed to that.
Right. And knowing that what you are, what you're capable of, what you have, what you can experience is all beyond what you have. She's just, I asked her if there's anything else that she wants to share. She's just, first of all, saying thank you just for acknowledging her work, like acknowledging, she's just saying thank you for acknowledging like that whole realm, like, because she appreciates that you bring light to it, like metaphysics, quantum physics, spirituality, and what's real, she says. So she's thanking you. There's nothing else really that she's saying that she wants to share.
Okay.
But definitely grateful just to share in this space. Like, she's always grateful to be pushing her message.